Okie dokie. So, the Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650. 648, I believe, cc parallel twin. 47 horsepower, 52 newton meters of torque. Lovely engine. Air and oil cooled, and I think it's the most authentic engine in the Lamb's Cruiser class. No water cooling, no high power revvy nature. It's a lovely cruisy engine, and it's really well suited to this bike. Up front you've got 43mm Showa inverted forks. They do a really nice job. At the back you've got your standard sort of cruiser setup, two shocks at the rear with preload adjustment you can easily crank on. LED lighting for your headlight and tail light. Interestingly, it appears these are still halogen bulbs, but I imagine, because Royal Enfield really likes to do with accessories, you can probably swap those out for something else. The brakes, they're bi-brake brakes, twin piston front and rear. Not too sure about the size, but overall, this bike is a huge step forward for Royal Enfield. So, fit and finish is in another level, really, from the other 650s that Royal Enfield does, particularly down here on the engine. So as you can see, we now have painted surfaces rather than that very easily tarnishable polished metal. So that's painted now, painted. Do notice something's going on here with the paint. It's probably from someone's boot rubbing there, so that might be something to watch out for. Otherwise, like the paint on this tank is absolutely exquisite. It looks beautiful. So, first impressions of this bike, really positive. Really positive. If this is what Royal Enfield has in store and where they're going, I think they're going to be quite the force to be reckoned with, and they already are quite a force. They're also they're very dominant here in New Zealand in the learner category. Physically, I think this is their largest motorcycle they've got going. It's about 240 kilos, and it's quite the looker. It comes spec'd quite well. You get a centre stand, the Tripper nav pod, which I haven't got set up, obviously. I've got my quad lock with my phone running at the moment. But it's all the nice little touches that really make this bike feel special. The seat is really comfy. These grab handles work very well for getting it up on the centre stand, and you can just tie bags down or whatever onto those. Monza fuel cap. Triumph, take note. This is how you do a Monza fuel cap. Click in. Oh look, it's got a hinge. You don't have to put it anywhere. Like, that's stylish and functional. It can be done, and it can be done for a very affordable bike. The switchgear, again, doesn't need to be perfectly fancy or anything, but I believe this is aluminium or stamped steel or something. Your switchgear looks really good. It feels nice. The switches themselves are still plastic, but you get nice feedback on the switchgear. All works very well. But most importantly, you jump on this bike, feels like a real bike, but it's super easy to ride. So switch it on, check it's in gear, check there's nothing coming behind me. Just super easy clutch, and that's what makes these Royal Enfields such great beginner bikes. They don't have scary power. They got beautiful, well set up engines that have usable power depending on where you're trying to use them. So you're not going to go taking a 350 touring the country. But it's really easy to recommend a Royal Enfield to a learner motorcyclist here in New Zealand, because they just are so damn easy. So what's something not so great about this bike? Well, personally I do like the idea of having a tachometer. A tachometer would be quite nice to have, particularly when you're on the highway. I've also noticed doing above 110 kilometers an hour, you can start to feel a bit of vibration creeping into the handlebars. and you do get a lot of wind blasts, so you can get an accessory windscreen for these bikes, which I think if you're going to do touring and stuff, that would definitely be recommended. If you're pottering around the city and just commuting, you can probably do without it, because it does make the bike look a little bit Harley-ish, and I think this hybrid roadster cruiser look that they've got going on, that's very similar to a Triumph Speedmaster, I think, or Bonneville America. It really works for the bike, and a big ugly windscreen doesn't always do the job. Wow, what the hell's going on here? This is all new and different. Okay, we'll follow this guy. We're now adventure riding, team, on a bumpy new twisty road. Or is this an old twisty road? I've got no idea. Well, while we're on the bumps, the suspension's coping very well. You've got no adjustment at the front on those 43mm showers, but you do have preload adjustment at the rear. So far it's pretty comfy, well controlled. I haven't pushed this bike. This is more of a first impressions type ride. But so far it is handling everything with quite aplomb. On and off throttle's actually quite nice and sweet on this bike. There's no jerkiness. Very lovely. That might be the title of my review. Royal Enfield Super Meteor. It's just rather lovely. So if I was putting myself in the boots of someone who's looking to buy their first bike and they want a cruiser, what are they looking at? So you've got the Super Meteor here, which as far as I can tell is the only one that has an oil and air cooled engine, and it's the only one that really has a bit of classic styling going for it. All the other bikes are quite modern looking. In terms of 650s, you've got the Kawasaki Vulcan S 650. You've got, that's about it in terms of 650s. Everything else is a 500, which, yeah, nothing too wrong with a 500, but if I'm buying a bike, I kind of want the most bang for my buck, if you know what I mean. So this would also compete against the Benelli 500, 502C, the Honda Rebel 500, to an extent Harley's defunct Street 500. But I think if you're after a bike that's got a lot of cool factor to it, you're better off going for this than the Street 500 from Harley. First off, you're getting a brand new bike for not a lot more money, with a lot more character, much better brakes and handling, and you're not paying through the nose for a name. So around town it is quite a nice bike to ride. You're sitting up quite high for a cruiser. You're at 740mm. Most bikes in this category seem to be around that 600, 640 mark. You're sitting significantly lower, where on the Enfield here, because it's kind of a bit more of a hybrid roadster cruiser, to my mind at least, you've got a nice, good, high seating position. You can see over a lot of the traffic around you. What are you doing, people? Jeez. As I've just proven, being able to see all the traffic around you is very useful, especially when most people can't drive. Now, I know it is not the most exciting of engines in terms of performance figures and stuff, but if you listen to that, which you probably can't hear through the action camera mic, but it is a lovely sounding bike. Now, most of the time I wouldn't really recommend it for commuters a cruiser, because most cruisers you're sitting a lot lower, your feet are a lot further forward, and you sort of lose a bit of low speed control. But honestly, the Super Meteor here I think would be an absolutely fine commuter bike. It feels pretty nimble, relatively narrow. Biggest problem you might come across is cars' wing mirrors as you're cruising along in between traffic, but if you go at a relatively okay speed, you're not really going to be troubled by that too much. So that basically wraps it up for the first impressions of the Royal Enfield Super Meteor. As you can tell, I am pretty impressed with it, really. Not only is it a cruiser that I'd happily commute on, build quality is massively improved from what we have come to expect from Royal Enfield, and Royal Enfield is one of those brands where I think we're going to want to keep an eye on them, because they just keep upping their game. So, as far as going to go, isn't he? Yep, I am right away there, but whatever, old man. Yes, so that's it for now. Make sure you stick around. Hopefully there will be some more content on this bike coming very soon to the channel. Like and subscribe, and stay rubber side down.